So let me record. All right. We are recording. So for those that are watching the recording, we are doing a nutrition course. Thank you all for being here. This is a nutrition class, nutrition group call. It's just going to be called a masterclass. I called it Thrive when I made it. And I went over it yesterday. I was like, okay, this looks pretty good. So I think I has a lot of good shit in here. Obviously, there's some stuff that I can adjust, but it's already long as is. We can do another group call on it. So Thrive, nourishing yourself to a healthier life through sustainable dieting. Okay. So this one is basically relationship with food, but there's going to be some science and holistics in here, right? That's how I preach things. So if you guys have never understood reverse dieting, that's what I'm going to teach you, because that's what it put a lot of people through to kind of help you build your metabolism, and I'll help you understand. So let's get into it. So here's my promise to you today. I can't promise that you will execute all this knowledge to 100% of your ability. I can't promise you will overcome limiting beliefs around your nutrition and food because your story and your history is unique. I can't promise you will be able to see progress tomorrow, next week, or next month. And I can't promise that you will do all the work necessary, because that is your responsibility alone. But I can promise that you will leave here with more knowledge than you came here with around nutrition. I can promise you will have new perspective around food and nutrition, and that you will have a step-by-step action plan to transform your physique and relationship with food. And I can promise you will get free resources and tools I created to help you stay on track, which most of you already have access to. So yeah, and if I create any new ones, I'll give them to you. So we're going to go into a little bit of my story, and you guys already know why you're here, but chances are that you're here because you've tried just about every diet under the sun. You see results for a few weeks, then quickly plateau or fall off. You have had or had a subtle diagnosed or undiagnosed eating disorder. You have experienced several cycles of restriction or binging or both, and you're just tired of it. So you're ready to make a change and apply the knowledge I'm going to share with you today. So the mistakes, so what we'll cover, this basically agenda, mistakes I made and what to avoid when starting your diet, what reverse dieting is and why it works, how to sustainably lose fat and build muscle, what the hell, and how and when to make decisions for your diet, what biofeedback markers are and why they matter, and how I coach my clients using the LFT method with a case study. Okay. And how to train during this process. Okay. So stay until the end for a special surprise and some free resources. So most of you have the free resources, but yeah. So here's a couple of mistakes that I've made in the very first few years of my journey. So I was eating super clean, but I wasn't losing fat. And a couple of mistakes that I made. Another mistake I made was I'm going to eat a huge cheat meal this weekend after eating clean all week as a reward. I'm going to do HIIT, which is high intensity interval training every day and burn as much fat as possible. I'm going to eat clean, HIIT, and cheat meals. They all have their time and place, but sometimes it's not just about what you eat, but how much you eat and when you eat it. So I thought I was healthy. This is me back in, what the fuck, when was this? This is freshman year of college? Yeah. This is when I was doing intermittent fasting and trying all the restriction diets and eating super clean. So this was 2012-ish, 2013, something like that. So I thought I was healthy. My digestion was horrible, though. I maybe went to the bathroom every other day. And what the heck? Okay, so I went to the bathroom maybe every other day. I had consistent acne breakouts. I was always cold from having dangerously low body fat. So I was, trying to always just focus on losing body fat. I had consistent brain fog, and studying in college was difficult. Some of these. And then I was taking green tea fat burners and drinking green tea to burn fat I didn't have. So I was doing all the bullshit, right? This is when the fat burners and all the products were super popular, and all the powders and all that shit. So, and I only ate protein and fruit and spinach, no processed carbs. So breads and rice, pasta, all that stuff I didn't eat at all. Bread and like burgers, yeah, none of it. So, and I also took laxatives. after binging on the weekend. So I would have whole ass cheat meals, have whole pizzas, ice creams, boba, beer, and then I went to in restriction mode during the week. Then I did hit. So, I would try and work off the food and just poop out the food basically with a ridiculous amount of laxatives, which is not good. Not good. So when you ask me, should I take fiber as a supplement? Don't fucking do it. So then I found out about IIFYM, which is called, back then it was known as if it fits your macros. There was this new thing going around when I started dieting, is you can eat whatever the fuck you want and get shredded, right? It was the craze, is what most people around the time that I started training started doing, right? I was like, oh shit, you can eat pizzas and have cheat meals and like eat everything you want every day, process this, process that, and still lose weight. So I would watch a lot of food vlogs on YouTube. So I found out about that, and then I got addicted to processed sugar. So this is my Instagram back in, when are these circled? 2014. So as you can see, I would make a lot of fucking calorie-free pancake syrup and Pop-Tarts and all this shit, right? Pop-Tarts every single fucking day. Ice cream every single fucking day. All this stuff, right? This is what my Instagram looked like back then. This is when, we had the basic memes, when memes were back in the good old days. So I got addicted, right? So I still have, a sweet craving every now and then, but it's not as crazy as it used to be. So I had to heal my gut. I wasn't prioritizing and I wasn't portion sizing my sugars and processed food correctly. So I started eating more nutritionally dense foods while still having my bowl of cereal once a day, because flexibility is fucking important, and balance. But my rule was only sugars and cravings for post-workout meals. So I would only have cereal post-workout. So if you want to incorporate your cravings and fun meals into your diet, make a rule for yourself and stick to the rule. The purpose of rules is being consistent with them. Whether that's having your craving post-workout or having a free meal on the weekends, but still hitting protein prior, or having your craving food if you hit 70% of your protein or more. So like if you hit 70% of your protein for the day and you have room for dessert, go for it, with portion sizing accordingly. And there are so many rules that you can create to have balance, but you have to follow it every time. That's the purpose of a rule. It's not a rule if it's followed maybe 4 or 5 days out of the week. So when I learned to transform my gut, I transformed my body. So when people fucking say that I'm on steroids and shit, I look the same. It's funny. This is from 2016. So I look very much the same, but my digestion got better. Acne cleared from quality of food. I was warm-bodied and I had higher healthy body fat because I actually was able to build muscle, and I was able to study confidently with energy with zero brain fog. And I didn't need fat-burning supplements at all. I didn't need any of that shit. And I ate all the processed carbs I wanted while eating enough protein. So this is why I dial in so much on gut health with you guys. So here's what I actually did unintentionally, unknowingly. And this is what a lot of people do. I don't even know, like when people go through some sort of phase, they get lucky. It's just good timing and they lose a lot of fat and they're not understanding what their body is doing. That's why we use biofeedback markers. Like, what is your body doing? So what I unintentionally did was I added way more calories, eating quality whole food, and focus on hitting protein every day. Those are just the heavy hitters. But I went to maintenance calories for a few months before I went into a lean bulk. So when I was super fucking lean and, like pale looking, and I went to this, in a couple years, like 2 years, I was at maintenance calories or a lean bulk for the most part. I had to build muscle to fill out my frame. So maintenance calories just means, simply the amount of calories that your body needs to maintain whatever weight you're at right now. So that's when I say, if you're in a 5-pound range, that's maintenance. I've been in a 5-pound range for a couple months because I don't have any specific like hardcore goals. So maintenance is a beautiful place to be if you're just trying to build muscle and build a better relationship with food. So now let's go into reverse dieting. So this is kind of an intro or a prologue into reverse dieting. What is reverse dieting? Reverse dieting is a method of increasing your calorie intake gradually after calorie restriction, right? It is reversing your calories back to maintenance after you've been in a diet for a long time. This mainly applies, I mean, for the majority of it, it applies to people that have, one, had undiagnosed eating disorders, or two, they were, in competition for a prep, right, for bodybuilding of some sort. That's about it. Those are like the two major ones. There might be others, but I don't know them. So long periods of calorie restriction equals down-regulated metabolism. You might have seen a video that I posted on my Instagram. If not, I'll show you later. But down-regulated metabolism, what that means is you're a Prius. Your metabolism is basically a Prius. It's very fuel efficient, right? You're getting 45 to 50 miles per gallon, meaning you want to be a Ferrari, though. You want your metabolism to turn into a V12 running on race fuel, burning calories like a machine. So when you're really fuel efficient and you're eating 1,000 calories, your body has now adapted to eating and using those 1,000 calories over the course of 24 hours, right? So it becomes efficient. Instead, you want to be giving it more food, more reason to burn fuel, and burning race gas, basically, like using calories as fuel, using food as fuel. But good fuel, obviously, not just shit. So if you're eating 1,000 calories, but you're overweight, this is for you. And if you're eating under 1,000 calories, but you're skinny, this is also for you. So here's what reverse dieting does. Yo-yo dieting versus reverse dieting. On the left, we can see yo-yo dieting. This is what yo-yo dieting. You want to mainly look at the calorie intake and the metabolic rate, which is the dotted line and the blue line. You can see your calorie intake. When you drop it, your metabolic rate also goes down. And then you raise it because you're like, oh, restriction mode, binge mode. Okay. We raise it and your metabolic rate doesn't go up as much. You can see the distance is still kind of there, but then your weight adds a lot more water, right? Your weight is now above, like the red line is now above your calorie intake. So this just keeps happening over and over, right? Until the gaps get bigger and bigger where your weight is significantly above your calorie intake and then your metabolic rate is significantly downregulated. This is what happens when you try different diets, you're under eating for a long time, or you're in some sort of undiagnosed eating disorder. So with every successful cycle of yo-yo dieting, weight rises while metabolic rate drops. Now, this is reverse dieting. You can see we have metabolic rate, calorie intake, and then weight in that order from top to bottom. And when we start losing fat, this is a fat loss phase. This is what it usually looks like. At the bottom of the fat loss phase, when you can't lose any more weight. A lot of people like to stay in this plateau forever, right? They're like, I'm just going to keep dropping calories. No. So we start gradually increasing calories and allow the metabolic rate to catch up, right? This is why we use biofeedback markers to help you understand, to help us understand what your body is doing consistently if you're building muscle, losing fat. So, and at the same time, you can see the body weight stays down. So this is exactly what we want because you can do several phases of this to get your desired body. So as you put your calories to a higher place, look at what happened. Now your calories are where they started at the very beginning of your fat loss phase, but your weight is significantly lower, right? So reverse dieting. Remember, we are going from a Prius to Ferrari. So your body is a $5,000 car. No offense, to $500,000 car. So this takes time. Like you're not just gonna. This is not gonna happen overnight. So the benefits of doing this though is having your improved metabolism, which means you're eating more calories, which means you have more strength, which means you have a healthier gut, which means healthy relationship with food. So many positives. So how did I do it? Step one is you're going to calculate your maintenance calories. You can use an online calculator or consult a nutritionist to determine your maintenance calories. But you guys have the calculators that I give you, and they're basically estimates. The equations that are in that calculator on the spreadsheets is the Mifflin-St. Jean equation. This is probably one of the most accurate ones, as opposed to the ones where people on TikTok or Instagram tell you, like, just multiply your body weight by times 12 or times 10. That's easy, sure, but these are more accurate. And I like accuracy. So you might have heard of TDEE. If I say TDEE, it sounds weird. So this stands for total daily energy expenditure. And TDEE is not the same as BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate, right? So your metabolism and your total daily energy expenditure are not the same. So I'll go into this little equation so you understand. So if we notice here, this equation says TDEE is your metabolism, which is BMR, plus NEAT plus TEF plus EAT. What the fuck are those? Okay. So BMR, like we said, metabolic rate, which takes up 70% or 60% of your calories for the entire day, right? Your total energy expenditure. So that's a huge chunk. NEAT, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis, meaning non-exercise activity. If I'm moving my hands and fidgeting and like walk into the bathroom, or I talk with my hands a lot, so when I do this, it burns calories. If I just get up from my chair and go to the couch, that burns calories. Non-exercise, unintentional exercise, that burns calories. So this takes up to 15% of your total energy expenditure for the day, which is a good amount. Like if you're sitting on the couch, you're not burning a lot of fucking calories. But if you get up to go to the couch and you drink a lot of water, now you have more NEAT, right? Because you have to go to the bathroom very often. So this is why if you drink more water, you'll increase your NEAT. TEF is thermal effect of food, which means protein. Well, I'll explain this later, but protein is one of the highest thermally active macronutrients because it takes more calories from your body, right? Not from intake, but from your body, or energy. Let's just say calorie. Let's just say energy. It takes more energy for your body to break down protein compared to carbs and fats, meaning like it takes more calories for it to break it down, meaning it has to get it from somewhere, which is usually your fat storage. So that's why when people say eat more protein, that's not just to build muscle, it's so that you can build your metabolism, because now you are building, you're using really dense bricks to build your metabolism, if that makes sense. And EAT stands for exercise activity thermogenesis. This is actual exercise. So you notice how actual exercise is only a small portion of your total daily energy expenditure. But this still matters because one, this helps you build more muscle and also helps you get more non-exercise activity thermogenesis, because you're going to be moving, not intentionally. So there's a lot of like domino effect from exercise activity, but this is solely just exercise activity, if that makes sense. Like just going to the gym for an hour is only 10% of your total daily energy expenditure. So that's the breakdown. Now, what about your macros? So I'm going to use myself as an example. So my maintenance is around 2430, which is just an estimation. That is not where my actual maintenance is, but I'll tell you why later. This is just according to the calculator. So we know, if you don't know, protein has 4 calories per gram. So for every gram, oh, hold on, let me go back, Jesus. For every gram of, for example, chicken, that's 4 calories. If you get 10 grams of chicken, that's 40 calories. If you get 1,000 grams of chicken, that's 400 calories. So now we want to know where your protein wants to be at. So this is a screenshot of the calculator. So very easy. You guys see that there's, in the protein section, there's a higher body fat and lower body fat. And I put this there for you specifically, so that way you can follow it. Higher body fat, you want to be around 0.7 grams to 1 gram per pound of body weight for your protein. So the higher you are for higher body fat, or close to your body weight, that's better. Or you could see here in the little screenshot, it says, or if you're like super high body fat, if we're in the 300s, 400s, 500s, whatever, you want to do, having 1 gram per pound of body weight is pretty unrealistic. So we want to do 1 gram per centimeter of height, which is a pretty good estimate up until you start losing body weight and you can start to hit these zones. And then if you're lower body fat, you want to be 1 gram per pound of body weight to 1.2 grams per gram of body weight, or per pound of body weight. So for me, oh, fuck. And then we also know I put 1 here, so I'm 172-ish right now. I'm 175 now, but this is older. Did someone ask a question? Oh, Matt raised his hand. What's up, Matt?
Yeah, I was gonna let you go on because you're about to kind of go further into it, but I was just gonna ask about like, because I believe currently I'm at like 20%, and I know my visceral fat has dropped significantly when I think in the last like 2 months, it went from being 12, and now I'm at 9 or 8.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'm just like trying to think like because to get to like let's say like a 10% body fat, so cutting myself in half, I'd be upping my protein more.
Not necessarily, because we would go basically through a reverse diet until the body fat starts to chisel down, and then you build more muscle. Because building more muscle,
Hmm.
just like protein, muscle is very metabolically active, right?
Yeah.
That means that it takes more energy from your body to keep muscle alive just on a daily basis, like not doing anything. So in that case, that means your BMR, your metabolic rate goes up because now your body has to keep up with that energy expenditure, right?
Oh, okay. Okay, I see.
You're burning waste fuel like unintentionally by building muscle, if that makes sense.
No, that
So,
makes sense. It
and
makes me want to. I need to get that sleeping pad deal so I can get more BMR
yeah, do that, dude.
measurements.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, good question. Cool. So now for fats. So we're gonna go in order of calculating macros because protein's always the priority, and then fats are. Fats are the second priority. Why? Because fats are important for gut health, for your mental clarity, for hormone health, for a lot of different things, for nutrient absorption. So now fats, we also have this range. We say cutting is going to be around 0.28 to 3.32, and then maintenance is around 0.32 to 0.36. Bulking is 0.36 to 0.69. So, and we also see that fats can be anywhere between 25 and 35% of your entire calories for the day, right? So men, we want to be around 20 to 30, and then women around 25 to 30, just because women need fats a little more, just so that they can. It's more important for hormone health, if that makes sense. So let's continue. Carbs. Carbs are 4 calories per gram, which is basically the remaining calories. So now we can calculate this. The calculator will basically do everything for you, but we're just going to do everything manually so you understand. So I'm going to use myself an example. So my body weight, 173. So very easy, right? We're just going to stick to one. And we know 173, 4 calories per gram, that's 692 calories. So we multiply those. And then we have fats, which is 55 grams. I just chose 0.32. So I multiplied 0.32 times 173, and I got 55. So if we multiply 55 grams times 9, because 9 calories per gram, we get 495 calories. So far we have proteins and fats. If anyone isn't following along, let me know. Like, feel free to interrupt and let me know if tell me to repeat something. So then we go into carbs, which is very easy. We just take our maintenance calories, which is above here, 2430. These are just estimate. And then we have this equation, right? Maintenance calories is proteins plus fats plus carbs. We do some basic algebra and solve for carbs. So we take 2430 minus the proteins and the fats, and we get 1248, basically 1250 for the calories for carbs. All we have to do is divide by 4 because there's 4 calories per gram, and we get the amount of grams for carbs, which is 315-ish, 312. So now we have, so now we have 173 to 175 for protein, 55 for fat, and 315 for carbs, approximately, which is what the calculator gave me down here, right? 173, 312, and 55. Okay, so now what? So step 2, now we increase your maintenance from where you currently are. This is why I find out what you're doing for the first week without giving you any macros, any calories. I just need to see where you're at with your hunger cues, just based on that, not changing a goddamn thing about your current diet. So now you want to track your food intuitively for a week without macros for 1 to 2 weeks. This step is crucial because just eating as you already are, but tracking everything, weigh it with the food scale is going to help me understand what your hunger cues are, where your metabolism is at, where your relationship with food is at, all that stuff. Okay. Now you have a starting point, your intuitive calories, and a target, which is your maintenance, right? So the key is to do this gradually so that way we don't gain a bunch of weight in yo-yo diet like that chart that we saw earlier. Now you should aim to increase your calorie intake by 50 to 200 calories per week. That's very ballpark. I like to use percentages. That's why the percentage adjustment is in there. But yeah, I say that. I already got ahead of myself. I like to use percentages to increase calories from maintenance with 2 to 5% bumps are great. If you want to be more aggressive, 5 to 10% is where I kind of like to hang for the most part because everyone kind of ranges. So if you're eating if your maintenance is, I don't know, 1,500 calories because you're smaller, then the 5% is going to be like, I don't know, fucking 60 calories, 70 calories. Whereas a 10% of that would be 150. So, and if you're bigger, the percentage gets bigger. So this is why I provided that personal coaching tracker. So that way you can obviously make a copy of the calculator for yourself. So that way you can follow along, but I show you every week. So let's say you don't know how to track. That's okay. This is a skill set. You learn to build over time. No one is perfect. And no one's perfect from the start. As long as you start building consistency, that's all that truly matters. The best way to learn is just do it consistently. And when you're starting your reverse, you can aim to just target a protein goal and a calorie goal, which is what I give most people up until the point that they are ready for full macros. So that just means removing carbs and fats from your macros because those are they're not filler carbs, but they can be important if you hit some sort of plateau or if you want to build your relationship with food, right? Or stay satiated. So let's say I'm scared of eating more. What if I gain weight? Which is super, super common. I get it. Okay. So there are 3 outcomes and that you cannot control when you are eating more, right? That chart that I showed you is very ideal. Not everyone goes through that. Some people gain weight and that's totally fine. So the first outcome is you have to understand, well, first you have to understand that you have to stay consistent until your body can adapt. So you might gain weight during maintenance. This is normal because you feel like you're going in the wrong direction, but it's okay because most of the weight gain is most likely muscle. You're starting to add more protein, good food into your diet. Do not get discouraged here. We are simply giving up losing fat in the short term so we can lose fat easier in the long term, right? We are building your metabolism. It takes time, helping you build muscle. So that way I can guarantee that you lose body fat and we keep it off. So we have to build a little bit of delayed gratification here. Our goal is to sustainably lose fat, not crash dieting, right? So if you enter the program, you're like, why am I not in a fat loss phase? It's because we're still building your metabolism. That means if this happens, getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. So if you see your body changing, body dysmorphia is okay. And we'll go through it in terms of mindset on our calls if you deal with it, because it's totally normal. But more often than not, the body dysmorphia is positive because you start to see more muscle and definition, and you start to feel better about your gut and your training and your all these other biofeedback markers, which we'll talk about. And you want to treat this phase in your life as an experiment, right? You've been under eating for a long time, so you have nothing to lose. The only way is up from here, right? The second thing that can happen is you maintain weight during this maintenance, right? This can be a good situation too. Why? Because you're not stalling, but if you're eating more and you maintaining weight, that's a win, right? If you're gradually increasing calories and nothing's really changing, that's a huge win. And if you're losing weight during your maintenance, it must be fucking nice. There's very few people that have done it. I've seen a couple of women that have been under eating for a significant long time, and a couple of men too. But more often than not, it's women that have been significantly under eating for a long time. And as we increase calories, the body fat just comes off. I'm like, okay. So these type of people are hyper responders. Very few of them, but most of them need it because they need their metabolism to come back to homeostasis and their hormones to come back to homeostasis. Once their hunger hormone, and their satiation hormone are their leptin and their ghrelin hormone are in balance, your body will start to be able to respond better to food. So I just said this, meaning their metabolism was severely downregulated and it needed the calories and protein to burn fat. Or they might be highly active after increasing their calories or energy through NEAT. So like if they lose fat while we're increasing calories, a lot of people don't know this, But this is actually really important, like increasing your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, while you're increasing calories can happen subconsciously, right? You're eating more, so you want to go on more walks. You want to go out with your friends more. You're able to walk around the office a lot more. You're feeling good in your skin, so you're able to like go, you're just doing more things. You're getting more activity in. And in that case, sometimes you can just lose weight just by doing more NEAT. So getting steps subconsciously is kind of a great thing. Let's say you're gaining weight and you hate this. So what a lot of people neglect is the more important changes. These are the biofeedback markers you should be aware of. Are you sleeping better? Are your hormones and libido better? Are you happier? Are you stronger in the gym and progressing? Are you recovering better in terms of muscle? Do you have more energy? Is your relationship with food better? Are you feeling hungrier? Is your digestion better? Less brain fog? Notice how I didn't say weight on here. Like the weight is just a tool. Weight is just like exercise. It's like 5% of what really truly matters. All these things matter way more than your weight. So how long do you stay here? This is a very individual experience. I've had clients stay at maintenance for 3 to 4 months and continue to lose weight and build muscle. That's the beautiful thing about being at maintenance is you can continue to lose fat and build muscle. It's finding that zone, that sweet spot that really works for you. Let's say you're obviously giving your body more calories and protein to build muscle. And like I said to Matt, muscle is more metabolically active. So you're basically turning your body into more of a Ferrari over time by building more muscle by rate, which will help you increase your metabolic rate over time. I just said this, Jesus Christ. Muscle is more metabolically active, meaning it requires more calories to stay alive. If you see where I'm going with this, more muscle growth equals more fat loss. So since it requires more energy to stay alive, it has to get that energy from somewhere, which is your fat storage, your visceral fat. How do I know when I need to adjust? So this is what people don't know how to do often, right? Like you can't just stay at the same calories forever. I wish we could. Because the thing is, people don't know is your maintenance is dynamic. It moves consistently depending on your lifestyle, your season of life. It'll maybe even move during this next season of winter when people are more sedentary, staying in, not going out, being inside. People gain fat, right? Very common. So you want to monitor your progress. Keep track of your weight, your progress pics, and calories, obviously. This will help you determine if you are gaining weight too quickly or if you need to adjust your calorie intake. But also keep track of your biofeedback markers that we mentioned earlier, your energy, your strength, your digestion, your hunger cues, your recovery, all that stuff. The scale means nothing when your biofeedback markers are way better than where you were when you came into the program. So as long as you see more definition and your body starts to see, like even in terms of mindset, right? Like mindset is a huge biofeedback marker because relationship with food and the way you perceive yourself, all that stuff is much more important than, oh, I lost like a pound today, yay, you know? So let's say you're ready to adjust your calories. Step 4 is how to adjust your calorie intake. If you're gaining weight too quickly, you may need to adjust your calorie intake. What is too quickly? Well, quickly can be 2 to 3 pounds per week consistently, not just for 1 week, right? Like I said, you can gain weight when you enter a reverse diet and you're adding more calories in your diet. So for the first week or two, if you're gaining weight and you're like in this range, you're like, fuck, I'm gaining weight, I should stop. Don't do that. That's what we're trying to prevent. You have to stick with it for a little while because your body needs to adapt. So people will freak out for 1 week and then go back into restriction. You can adjust your calorie intake by reducing your calories slightly or increasing your exercise, whichever works best for you. And when I say increasing your exercise, I don't mean fucking doing HIIT or running or any of that. Maybe getting like an extra 1,000 steps a day or an extra set or two is plenty. It is plenty. Maybe like an extra set or two a day. So that'll help you increase your BMR over time, help you build muscle. You want to do it in smart ways, not just by restriction. This doesn't mean, oh my God, I gained 10 pounds in 8 weeks. Let me restrict again. No, this is a cycle you want to avoid. This is not the purpose of reverse dieting. You're avoiding reverse dieting by doing that. We're still targeting your calorie intake, your calorie maintenance. So instead, do 50 to 100 calorie increases instead of 200 to 300 calorie increases. So if you're bumping your calories significantly, then drop it down. Go slow. This isn't an excuse to eat like an asshole. Remember the mistakes that I made. If you're eating more food, I have room for Pop-Tarts now. I have room for more sugar. I get it, but understand, as long as you're creating rules for yourself and healthy boundaries around food, you should not be eating like an asshole, right? If it fits your macros, works, but gut health is much more important. So this requires trial and error. There's no clear-cut way to do this, but the framework is always the same. Work towards maintenance and hold that range for a while until you find where you're building muscle and losing fat and all the biofeedback markers are green flags. Okay, I've been at maintenance for at least 6 to 8 weeks. Now what? Do I bulk or cut? I don't know. So you've been at maintenance for a couple of weeks or even months, and you're plateauing with strength, energy, muscle recovery, all that stuff, and even building muscle. This is why keeping track of your biofeedback markers is important. So you can make these decisions based on facts, not just a feeling. That's what people do is like, oh, I'm gaining too much fat. Oh, this and that. No. Oh, I'll cut when I'm at like 30% body fat or 20% body fat. No. I'm eating way too much. I want to cut. No. I like the way I used to feel. No. My body doesn't look like it used to. No. Instead, use the science and the holistics, right? So make an Excel sheet, a journal, or something to keep track of biofeedback markers. You guys can make it, if you want the biofeedback marker thing that I have after coaching, you guys can keep it. That's for you. I don't know how to decide. So if you don't know how to decide, here's a question framework that you can use. So this is a very simple yes or no framework. You want to assess your goals and body composition. Do you want to cut? Have you gained enough muscle so that it shows when you cut down, right? You need to have muscle to show when you cut. Otherwise, you're just going to keep cutting and you're going to look like a washboard like I did in the very beginning of my fitness journey, which is not fun. So do you feel hungrier with more calories? Is strength and recovery and body composition where you want it to be? If no, if none of these are true, if no, stay at maintenance or increase your calories. Body fat percentage, you can use your strength and your metabolism as a gauge. Your body fat percentage is not a great indicator because that always changes, right? So like Matt was asking, should I cut or should I eat more protein? I'm at 20%. So let's understand this. Think about this from the zoom out. Think about how long it takes to build muscle. I've been building muscle forever, right? Which is a never-ending pursuit. Like you always need to build muscle. You can never have enough. Obviously, we're not trying to fucking be bodybuilders. I've looked the same for most of my life, but that's totally fine because I have a healthy metabolism. Understand how long it takes to build muscle, like mature muscle that you're going to keep for most of your life and you won't lose when you go into a cut because you will lose muscle when you go into a cut. And understand how long it takes to lose fat, which is 12 to 20 weeks in a proper calorie deficit. The scale is much more weight on the building muscle side. People are so focused on like, how can I lose all this fat? Well, start building more muscle and you'll start losing fat easier instead of just trying to restrict your calories. So if all of these are a yes, though, if you have gained more muscle, you feel hungrier and your strength is going up. If yes, enter 8 to 16 week cutting phase, lower your calories slowly so it's not miserable. And if you want to do it faster, you can. Matt, what's up?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you're saying because, like, the one thing that I've like since I got that scale that gives you a further breakdown is like, okay, I recognize like I have 145 pounds of lean muscle and been pretty consistent where I'm trying to not drop to like 175 too quickly because my body's just shreds off stuff like that fast.
Yeah.
So, because I know I've talked to you about like my goal is trying to get that lean muscle mass up to more equal,
Yeah.
where like it. So if I weigh like 175, like that's where we get me down to. I would like to get my lean muscle mass where it's like at least like 160 to 165,
Yeah.
and that, like you said, it's going to take a lot of time and effort to build that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And obviously, keeping a lot of that muscle mass is what people struggle with when they go down into that pretty low zone, like pretty lean.
Mm-hmm.
Is like you can lose fat easy, but keeping the muscle in the process is what people struggle with because they like to do it fast, cut off the fat. There's ways to get around it, but you have to be in a controlled environment, and all these things have to be taken into account. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great to think about because yeah, I'm not too worried about like dropping for myself at least body percent fat. Like I've stated, my biggest thing is trying to get more muscle, and with the routine we got right now, I definitely have been putting on more muscle. Um,
It's good, dude.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of crazy because like yeah, I see where the consistency will really add it in. It may take like because
Couple
I
weeks,
saw
couple months.
yeah, it's gonna take a couple months of like I think to get to like the true like 165 to like
Mhm.
175 range of
Yeah.
building muscle, that'll take like at least like a good year and a half to 2 years of
Yeah.
like consistency. Yeah.
But as long as we can keep the fat off as much as possible, not gain a shit ton of fat while we're building muscle, that's like going to be ideal. So that's why that finding that sweet spot for maintenance is important. So we'll go into how to find that and where what biofeedback markers to use for that. So, but good question, man.
Mhm.
So let's see. Yeah, enter an 8 to 16 cutting week. Wow, cutting week. 8 to 16 week cutting phase if all these things are true. Okay. Now the next is if this was for cutting, right? So this is for cutting. Now, should you enter a bulk? Well, if you want to gain strength and more muscle, like we mentioned, muscle is more metabolically active. So if yes, enter a bulking phase and increase calories slowly above maintenance. It's not super complicated, honestly, because it's really easy to just enter a bulk, eat more calories, but obviously doing it safely, not eating like an asshole, and having a good relationship with food as you do it. And if you don't want to enter a bulk, if you want to stay at maintenance or slightly below or slightly above, I mean, this is slightly above to main gain, which is basically like maintaining and gaining more muscle, keeping the fat off, like I was just trying to say to Matt, and building more muscle, you can still build muscle here, right? Because you're still in a slight surplus, very slight. So your body composition is a big driver. Understand that metabolism is very dynamic and can adapt, but it takes time, right? If you're burning 1,000 calories in 1 week, it's not going to go to 2,000 calories the next week. It doesn't work like that. So if you plateaued for weeks in all the categories, meaning strength, composition, body composition, energy, sleep, hunger, plateaued meaning like you're not going anywhere with all these things, then it's a good time to switch phases as well, right? So it might be a good time to enter a cut for a little bit to resensitize your body if you've been at maintenance or main gain phase too long, or if you've been in a bulk for too long and all these things are going down, dropping your calories might be a good driver to help with that and resensitize your body again. And if opposite, if you've been in a cut too long, adding more calories into your diet to resensitize your body is always important. So notice how I like, if you think about it as a teeter totter, right? Where maintenance is right in the middle, it's balance, and then cutting and bulking are on both sides. Your body doesn't want to be in cutting or bulking. It's very unnatural for like people like us to want to cut and bulk. Very unnatural. Your body just wants to stay at maintenance naturally, intuitively. So when you're in either phase for a long time and you're not seeing progress, it's a good chance that you just need to come back to maintenance for a while, let your body readapt, and then go back into it slowly. So yeah. Now, if you don't know how to decide, another thing that you can ask yourself is the rate of weight change. If you notice in the the calorie calculators that I give you guys, there's a column for your body weight and the rate of change, the percentage. So macro calculators aren't perfect. They require trial and error. If you're gaining too much weight during your reverse, you have two choices. One, you can hold for longer. Your body needs to adapt. Or two, drop your calories by 5 to 10%, monitor your feedback, your weight, your body composition, etc., and continue increasing over time. So like I said, drop your. And then, but before making that decision, ask yourself, have I been consistently hitting protein, right? If you're gaining weight and you're not consistently hitting protein, then there's your fucking answer. Ask yourself, have I been tracking all my meals? If you're not tracking on 3 or 4 days out of the week, there's your fucking answer. Did I eat like an asshole every single week? That doesn't mean enjoying your favorite Pop-Tarts. It means staying near your calorie targets because if it fits your macros, works. But like I said, gut health is also very important. So you obviously see in the calculator that I share with you guys that we care about the weekly calorie average and being within 5 to 10% of your calorie targets. This is why going over or under 500 calories, 500 calories like in a day or two for 2 days can wipe out your progress, right? Like if you're in a deficit and you're eating less, but then you eat like a shit ton over 2 or 3 days by 500 to 1,000 calories, that'll significantly sway the calorie average. Matt said, yeah, eating protein consistently is the battle for me, but doing better. But it's amazing how much protein you need. Yeah, we all need a good amount of protein. But yeah, like I said, the calculator is important for you to follow for us to get consistent protein. So another question to ask yourself if you don't know how to decide is biofeedback markers. So strength, increasing. If it's going up, stay in maintenance. If it's decreasing, increase calories. If it's energy and recovery, if it's increasing, stay at maintenance. If it's decreasing, increase calories. If your hunger is, if you're not hungry, monitor fiber. 14 grams. I kind of keep it around 12 to 15 grams per 1,000 calories is average. And food quality is also important for hunger. If you're hungry, increase your calories or enter a bulking phase by adding 5 to 20% calories from your maintenance. Remember, this is a target. Slowly work up to it so you don't feel bloated. Like if you're eating a lot of food and you still feel hungry, chances are your metabolism has adapted to those new calories, but because it's dynamic and you need more food. So slowly work up to a potentially new maintenance. It means you're growing because you're building more muscle. Muscle is more metabolically active. Another question is mood and mental well-being. If you're moody as fuck, increase your calories. Hormones could be off because calories could be too low. If you're stress-free and chillaxed, stay at maintenance or increase slightly more. Digestion is another one. This is one of the most important because the brain and the gut are always in communication. Gut health is super important. So if you have bad digestion, if it's like super pebbly and constipated or you're bloated or you have struggle going or you're going every other day, if it looks like irregular bowel syndrome or acid reflux, look at your food quality. The usual culprit is too many processed carbs and not enough fruits, natural carbs, and quality protein. If you have good digestion, great. Stay maintenance or increase if you want. Sleep. If you have bad sleep, if you're horrible, run sub 6 hours, waking up consistently in the middle of the night, work on sleeping more. There's potential supplements that you can take like magnesium glycinate to help with that. But you obviously want to work on routine and all the other things that you can control before adjusting calories to see if that helps. If you are sleeping more with better quality, great, stay in maintenance. You're good. Progress pics. No changes. We mentioned this is possible based on your current state. You can increase or decrease calories based on your goals. If there's some changes or a huge physical difference, then stay in maintenance until you plateau or increase a little bit if you want to build more muscle. Another one is to consider your consistency. If you're only tracking 2 to 4 days out of the week, keep working that up to 5 to 7. Because 3 to 4 days is 29% to 57% of the week. Just quick math, right? That sub 60% does not equal 100% of the results you want. So building a healthy relationship with food. If you've never tracked food, you have to build that consistency in the very beginning. Obviously, working up to it. Don't expect you to be perfect right off the get-go. But if you've never tracked food and working that up from 3 days to 4 days to 5 days, make it a challenge for yourself so that way you can build a relationship with food and build that consistency, like I said. If you're tracking 5 to 7 days, great. That's 71 to 100%. Let's fucking go. Good shit. Depending on your goal, adjust the number of days you track within that 5 to 7 range. So here's a quick case study. Wow, we're almost at fucking an hour. Hold on. All right, I'm gonna do this quick. Here's a client who has a calculated maintenance of 2,500 calories. We started at 2,100 calories and worked out to 25. So we added 400 extra calories, basically. So you can see at the very beginning, he started around December, which was around 2,100, the very top. And then this yellow zone is when we started hitting above maintenance, right? 2,700, 27, 26. His averages were getting higher and higher, right? So you can see up until like from late February to late March, a whole solid month, we were at 25 to 2,700 calories. We held maintenance from the weeks of, like I said, late February to around June. So that's 4 months of building solid muscle. So we would say June, yeah, around June, this whole zone. Maybe if like a week or two we fell off, but that's fine. So this is more of a hyper responder. Why? Because you can see that, oh, we lost a significant amount of body fat here because that means that he's a hyper responder. So he was losing weight as we were increasing calories. You can see that we are within 3 to 5% of tolerance within the calorie targets. So like if you look in trainer eyes, if you open your nutrition chart, you see those dotted lines in your nutrition chart. Those are 10% tolerance lines. So once we get a little more dialed in, we can go down to 5%. And I'll do all that for you. But making sure that you're in those yellow bars, those bars turn yellow on your charts, is important for you to see that you're within tolerance. The jump from 2,100 to 2,500 was rather quick because one, he was hitting 15 to 20K steps a day. He eats protein even before we started eating at maintenance. He was already eating whole foods and had a good relationship around food. Eating 8+ hours every night. Water intake was more than half the body weight in ounces. So if you're 200 pound, you drink 100 ounces of water, which is basically a gallon almost. So around here, he was basically already eating like all that stuff. He just needed more food. And if you're not as active or consistently hitting protein, making 100-calorie jumps is more feasible and you will see less fluctuations, right? Like I said, if you're not as active, you want to make 50 calories to 100-calorie jumps because here we were making, 2,100 to 22 to 25 to 24. We were jumping really fast. So this one says, I have successfully been at maintenance and bulking cutting. Now what? If you went to maintenance and then entered a cutting phase, now work back up to your old maintenance. So let's say if we remember that chart, I don't want to go back to it because it's going to take forever. You want to enter a cutting phase and then slowly work up your calories towards your old maintenance or find your new maintenance. Because like I said, calculators aren't perfect. So if you correctly reverse, you should feel hungrier at your old maintenance, which means you should feel hungry because your metabolic rate went up. Why? Your maintenance is dynamic, meaning since we're burning more calories from building more muscle, your maintenance is now higher than your old one. So that's theory, right? It's not always perfect, but it's theory. Your goal is to find your new maintenance by slowly increasing your calories again, since you've been in a cut for a long time. If you went to maintenance and entered a bulking phase, your best bet is if you don't have any huge deadlines, photo shoots, vacations, shows, competitions, then stay at maintenance or stay bulking. Because like I said, bulking and adding muscle to your frame is a lifelong endeavor. So like I said, literally never stops. Building muscle takes hard work, but it's so rewarding because you will fill out your frame once you build solid muscle. This is why pro bodybuilders take 6 to 9 months in a huge bulking phase and only 3 to 4 months in a cutting phase. So it's not always about cutting. It's easy to lose fat if you built a good relationship with food and follow the framework we outlined. So use all those positive advantages and build quality muscle for a year, and see where you end up. There's no rush. Take it slow and learn. Going too fast means you're going to forget the steps you took to get to your goal. So, like I said earlier, you want to have a framework and a plan so you understand how you got to your goal weight or your goal physique, so you can look back at it and be like, how can I change? If I change this factor this next season, what will happen? Right? It's always about just getting better and better and better. So, training. We're going to go over this quick because we're already kind of over time. This is important in a reverse diet. Why? Because if you're eating more and more calories you need, and you're training the same, you're not going to look this. You're going to look the same. Then you wonder why you gain weight faster. So if you're training the same as you're eating more calories, you're gonna gain weight. You need to start building muscle. So you feel discouraged. That's not what we want. If you want to mitigate fast weight gain and leverage increased calories, you're going to need to train with intensity and intention. This is where strength and intensity become important. So the biofeedback markers to see if you're doing your reverse correctly are strength, recovery, hunger cues, mind-muscle connection is more enhanced, and your pumps are better. If your pumps at the gym, in your arms, in your legs, in your back, in your chest are better, then you're definitely adding a significant amount of intensity and strength to your lifts. How hard should you train? Most of you know RPE versus RIR, so I'm gonna skip this, to be honest. We know RPE 7, right? We know all this stuff, but it's super important to still follow, right? That's why we track our sessions, so we understand how hard we can go for the next session. So I've taught most of this to you. Let's see, and okay, we're gonna skip all this. Okay, so reverse dieting has several benefits, including improved your metabolism. So this is a quick recap. Maintaining or increasing your muscle mass, preventing weight gain, reducing the risk of binge eating because you're eating more so you're not restricting, healthier relationship with food, muscle gain and fat loss simultaneously, which is fucking awesome. You might be a Prius and that's okay, but you'll be a Ferrari soon. Biofeedback markers are way more important than the scale. Nutrient-dense foods are important, but still balance your favorite snacks, meals, and your free meals to stay consistent. And the 3 outcomes you must accept. You gain weight, maintain weight, or lose weight. And if you're new to tracking, start with calories and protein goals and train hard as fuck with scheduled RPE 9 to 10 weeks. You have to program this correctly. So now you know the method that I take all of you through, most of the, and obviously I tailor it to you because everyone's timeline is very different. Relationship with food is different. Their gut health is different. All that stuff. So making sure that I help you with your specific situation is how we make it for you, the method. Oh, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I swear I deleted that. Okay, guess not. Okay, 1 second. We're going to, okay. So this is the case study that I was trying to tell you guys about, or I should have put it at the very beginning. But the method, the reason they call it the LFG method, I probably never told you guys. The L stands for Launchpad, which is building your solid foundation. F is for Forge Strength, because obviously we want to focus on strength and performance. And the G is for Gladiator Performance. So strength and performance. So I want to make sure that you have all of this in the method. So like I said, we started from here. This was George, the one that we went from 2100 to 2500. And you can see like in a week or two, we lost a good amount of fat and inflammation. And then we go here and you just kept losing fat, losing fat, losing fat. This is increasing calories. You can see the dates in losing fat, losing fat, losing fat. And we went into a small bulking phase right now. He's not as active in the chat because he works a lot, but yeah. And this is other clients that you guys might have seen. And this is, oh man, 1 sec. I have all of you in here. There we go. You can see it there. I made this a long time ago. If you see yourself here, say me in the chat or something, but I made all of this for you guys, at least the ones who have been in the program for a while and have been seeing some good amount of progress. So I made this when I was on travel and I was like, all right, I got time at the airport. So it was fun. And I'm still gonna make it. Obviously, these are dynamic, so I'm gonna adjust as we start to see more progress from everyone. So yeah, that's basically everything, guys. And then a thank you screen. So fun, fun, fun. How was it? That was long. I'm so sorry. We're 5 minutes over. Well, we actually started at 11:06, but yeah, we're exactly an hour. Thank you for the claps, Dylan and Matt. Thank you, guys. Any questions? Thank you, brother. Thank you, Tatim. Appreciate you. Any takeaways? Any questions? Anything you want me to go deeper into really quick before we go? I know I talked for a long time. This is a very long presentation. Lots of food for thought. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of. Once you experience it, though, it's much easier to understand and actually build a relationship with food and like feel less afraid to increase your calories in certain areas. So doing it slowly is going to be the way for most people. But yeah. Any questions? It's beautiful learning how dynamic and adaptable our bodies are given a nurturing environment. Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. Once you give your body, like, if you think your body has soil and you're actually feeding that soil with proper nutrients and watering it and giving it everything it needs, it's going to grow into a beautiful fucking apple tree. And if not, it's going to shrivel up and it's going to grow weeds and it's going to be very sad. So don't deplete, give more. But yeah, any questions? This was a little bit more science based. I feel like I've been doing a lot of mindset calls recently, and I know we have our call with Ash on the third Monday. So we are she's going to talk about something a lot more mindset related. So I just want to like get off mindset for a little bit because she's going to like go into something deep that a lot of people have been struggling with that I think would help better. Athene, you have a question? Athene? Emmanuel? You guys don't have to raise your hand. You guys can come off mute.
Oh.
No, I do not. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I just wanted to see if I could get the PowerPoint later because that was a lot of information and that was really cool. Good information.
Yeah, dude.
So,
let me see how I can share it.
or if you could email it later when you get a chance, it doesn't have to be right now.
I mean, I recorded the call for a reason, so that's why I'm going to put it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Whenever
All right.
I record
We'll look for that later.
Yeah, I'll put it up on the playlist on YouTube, and then you guys will have access to it. It's always in the Slack for the weekly group call recordings.
And then I also wanted to comment on the fact that like I've been gaining weight, and it kind of did mess with me in the beginning.
Yeah.
But now that I've been doing everything, obviously eating well, working out, I've noticed my body obviously getting more muscular, and I know that weight is muscle mass, which is awesome because then that also means my metabolism is increasing in rate, and it just goes to show that like the whole thing about like your weight, this, that, and the other, your weight is just like a really horrible beauty industry tactic to get you to buy weight loss programs, when really what matters is how good you look. And my waist is snatched, as the kids say, and I have more muscle on my arms and legs, and it's really cool to see myself gain a lot of muscle mass, and that's where all the weight's coming from. And so
yeah, dude.
It's really cool. It's really enlightening and awesome to see like the work I've been putting in. So
yeah, dude.
Don't focus on the scale. The scale is just a tool. It's just really telling you how heavy you are. Nothing else. It doesn't tell you how good you look.
Exactly. I tell everyone. Yeah. I'm glad. I saw your stories the other day flexing your tricep. I was like, all right. He's
I know. I was with my friend, and he was posting stuff on his Instagram. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I should be posting this. I've like worked my butt off for this to like be in the gym every single day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm gonna show off because anybody else who wants to like basically everybody sees like the gains, but nobody sees how hard and the commitment it takes and like the dedication and discipline it takes to like be committed to yourself and finally get the awesome results of having a good body. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, I'm proud.
Love that mindset shift, dude. Good job. Love it.
Thank you.
building
Thank you.
muscle.
Yeah.
We're in a good
Oh
place.
yeah.
You're making the shifts. Solid, guys. Good call. Anyone else? Any reflections? Any takeaways? Anything you want me to go a little more in detail with? Cool. Okay. Well, thank y'all for being here. Appreciate y'all. And if you guys have anything that comes up later, let me know. Like I said, I'm going to post this in the playlist on YouTube very soon once it downloads. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. But I will see you guys later. Do your check-ins, and I'll talk to you in the chat.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, guys. Bye. How do I hold on? Stop the recording. And there we go.